Have you ever just looked up at the night sky and wondered if there's an actual pattern to, the chaos of your life?
Right, like beyond just a vague, mystical sort of feeling.
Exactly. And not a feeling, but a literal mathematical formula. Just imagine this cosmic clock that doesn't just tick away minutes and hours, but it meticulously tracks the exact unfolding of your life's potential.
I mean, every sudden career shift, every relationship, periods of really intense struggle or, sudden elevation.
Yeah, all of it mathematically coded into this highly precise dial that spans exactly 120 years.
It completely upends how we normally perceive time, honestly. Because, well, we're so conditioned to think of time as just a flat, linear sequence of days.
Just one thing after another.
Right. But the framework we're exploring today, it presents time as this highly structured, almost architectural mechanism. It's designed to unlock your latent potential at incredibly specific, pre-calculated moments.
So welcome to today's deep dive, which is custom tailored just for you. If you've been following along, you know this is part 3 of our 6-part series where we are unpacking key astrological yogas.
And today's a big one.
It really is. We're pulling from translated extracts of foundational texts on Hindu astrology, specifically focusing on works like the Laghu Parashari. And our mission here is to move way past those vague newspaper-style sun sign horoscopes.
Oh, absolutely. We're getting into the math.
Yeah, we are decoding the highly analytical, predictive framework of this ancient system. We really want to help you understand the secret codes of planetary patterns, how these massive life events are timed, and the philosophy driving the whole thing.
And the key shift to make right at the start is recognizing that these texts, they don't treat astrology as mysticism.
Right.
And they certainly don't treat it as guesswork. They present it as a rigorous science of time and destiny. I mean, it's highly systematic.
Yeah.
And to understand the timing, we first have to understand the static blueprint.
Okay, so let's start with that blueprint. In the source notes we're using, this is called the Bachakra, the zodiac. The foundation is divided into 12 houses. But how do we actually conceptualize a house in this context?
So think of the 12 houses as 12 distinct domains of human experience. Literally every possible aspect of your life has a designated neighborhood on this map.
Okay, look for you a quick snapshot just to ground things. So the first house, which the text calls the Lagna or ascendant, that represents your body, your physical self, your core identity.
Right, the self.
Then you move to the second house, which governs your wealth and sustenance. Skip over to the fourth house, and you're looking at your mother, your inner happiness, your physical home.
That goes all the way around.
Yeah, like the ninth house is luck and religion. And finally, the 12th house represents loss, exhaustion, or, on a higher spiritual level, moksha, ultimate liberation.
Exactly. Now, you have these 12 domains, and you have planets positioned within them at the exact moment of your birth. But a really common mistake is just, glancing at a chart and guessing what a planet might be doing in a certain house.
Like, oh, Mars is here, so I'm angry.
Right, exactly. Traditional astrologers don't do that. They use a very specific, sequential, mathematical checklist to analyze a chart. The texts give us this mnemonic to remember the steps, which is Pact Aries.
Pact Aries, I love a good mnemonic, but looking at the breakdown, there is a lot to unpack. Walk us through how an astrologer actually uses this checklist.
Let's just take it step by step. So P stands for posited. This is simply the physical location, like which house is the planet sitting in.
Simple enough.
Right, then A is for aspected. This refers to how planets are looking at each other across the chart.
Let me pause you there because looking sounds a bit poetic. Mechanically, how does a planet aspect another planet?
Oh, it is pure geometry. Imagine the chart as a 360-degree wheel. A planet doesn't just radiate energy into the house it occupies. It actually casts a direct line of sight across the wheel.
Like a spotlight.
Yeah, exactly like a spotlight. For most planets, they aspect the house exactly 180 degrees opposite to them. So if a planet is sitting at 0 degrees Aries, it's throwing its geometric gaze directly across the chart to 0 degrees Libra, influencing whatever's happening over there.
Got it. So it's a geometric line of sight. What's next in the checklist?
C is for conjunct. That's when 2 or more planets share the exact same house, like roommates forced to live in the same space, blending their energies.
Sometimes good, sometimes bad.
Right. Then we move into specific combinations. D is for dawn, or wealth yogas. A is for arista, which points out the misfortunes, sicknesses, or struggles coded in the chart.
Which we're actually going to cover in the next part of this series.
Yes, that's coming up. Then R is for Raja Yoga, which indicates a rise in life, power, or status.
Which brings us to the E in Pacdares, and this is where I really want to focus our attention today for part 3. Because the sources place massive importance on this. E stands for exchange. In Sanskrit, this is called a Parivartan Yoga.
Oh, this is one of the most fascinating mechanisms in the entire system. A Parivartan Yoga, or mutual exchange of houses, occurs when planet A sits in planet B's sign, and planet B sits in planet A's sign.
So, to put that simply for you listening, let's say the sun is sitting in Aries, and Aries is a house ruled by Mars. But meanwhile, Mars is sitting over in Leo, which is a house ruled by the sun. I was reading this, and the best analogy I could think of is 2 homeowners who decide to swap houses for a year.
That analogy actually captures the mechanics perfectly. Think about the psychology of that scenario.
Right.
If you're living in someone else's house and they are living in your house, you are functionally linked. You both have a deeply vested interest in taking care of each other's property.
Yeah, if a pipe bursts in their house, you fix it, because they're doing the same for you and yours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It creates this feedback loop. In this framework, a house exchange creates a profound psychological and functional bond between those 2 life domains. It is considered one of the strongest planetary relationships possible, often seen as equivalent to, or even stronger than, 2 planets sitting right next to each other in a conjunction.
But the sources break these Parivartan exchanges down into 3 distinct categories. Because logically, not all house swaps are going to be a fun vacation.
No, definitely not.
It depends entirely on which houses are involved in the exchange.
Right, so let's look at the first category, the Maha Parivartan, or the Great Exchange. This occurs when the exchange happens exclusively between the auspicious houses.
So the good neighborhoods.
Exactly. We're talking about the 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 7th, 9th, 10th, or 11th houses. When the lords of these houses swap places, the texts state it brings immense success, intelligence, and a major elevation in life.
The sources give a really clear example of this. So imagine a chart where the Dainya, the first house, is Pisces. Now the lord of Pisces is Jupiter. Let's say Jupiter decides to go sit in the 4th house.
Good.
The lord of the 4th house is Mercury, and Mercury goes to sit in the 1st house. That is a Maha Parivartan. But what does that actually look like for you, the person living with that chart?
Well, let's trace it back to the domains we defined earlier. The 1st house is your physical self, your core identity. The 4th house represents your inner happiness and your physical home.
Right.
By swapping lords, a direct, mutually beneficial circuit is created between your physical self and your inner emotional fulfillment. The self naturally takes care of the home, and the home actively nourishes the self.
Mm-hmm.
It results in a profoundly stabilizing, highly successful foundation for your life.
It sounds ideal, but then you have the second category, which sounds, well, much more intimidating. The Dainya Parivartan. The miserable exchange.
Yeah, the name says it all.
It really does. This happens when one of the Dusthana houses, so that's the 6th, 8th, or 12th houses, which govern debt, obstacles, and loss swaps with a good house. If a planet from the house of debt swaps with the house of wealth, I mean, that just sounds like a disaster.
It absolutely brings turbulence. A Dainya exchange will cause sudden ups and downs. You might face periods of intense struggle or unexpected financial hurdles, but we have to look deeper at the mechanics.
Okay, how so?
Well, you're dealing with the energies of the 8th house, which governs sudden, radical change, or the 12th house, which governs liberation and letting go.
Oh.
So while it brings obstacles, it also forces deep systemic transformation.
Okay, I see.
You might experience a financial crash, but that crash forces you to become a master of managing liabilities. It's not a dead end, it's a crucible.
That's a great way to reframe it. And then there's the third category, the Kahala Parivartan. This is when the 3rd house, the house of effort, courage, and sheer willpower exchanges with a good house.
Yes, the house of effort.
From what I understand in the text, this points to a life driven by constant, relentless effort. You aren't handed success on a silver platter like the Maha Parivartan, but you eventually achieve massive victories simply because you just outwork everyone else.
Exactly. And this brings up a really crucial layer to your homeowner analogy. The house swap creates a powerful link between 2 areas of your life, yes. But the ultimate effect of that link depends heavily on the condition of the planets themselves.
Right, because if 2 homeowners swap houses but they secretly hate each other, I mean...
Right, it's going to be a mess.
One of them might just leave the fridge open, ruin the hardwood floors, cause total chaos. Which brings us to the concept of planetary conditions, or moods.
Yes.
Yeah.
Planets in this system are not static, emotionless rocks. The text explains they experience varying psychological and emotional states depending on exactly where they are positioned in the zodiac.
And the text outlines a strict hierarchy for these moods. At the very top, you have exalted. That's peak performance. Right below that is Mola Trikona, which is the second best. Then you have a planet sitting in its own house, which is comfortable. Then a great friend's house, a neutral house, an enemy's house, and finally, at the very bottom, debilitated.
And what's truly remarkable here is the mathematical precision applied to these moods. It's not just about what broad sign a planet is sitting in, it's about the exact geometric degree.
Which is wild.
It really is. The text specifies that the sun, for instance, is only exalted in Aries up to exactly 10 degrees. The moment it crosses into 11 degrees, it loses that peak exalted status and drops down the hierarchy.
The precision is just crazy. But going back to this idea of friends and enemies, how do we know who is friends with who? Like, is there just a master list you have to memorize?
Well, there is a list, but it's entirely derived from a mathematical formula. To calculate a planet's natural friends, you start from its Mula Trikona sign, its secondary home base.
Okay.
From that anchor point on the 360-degree wheel, you count the houses. The lords of the 2nd, 4th, 5th, 8th, 9th, and 12th houses from that anchor are considered its friends.
Wait, why those specific houses? I mean, that seems like a random assortment of numbers.
It seems random, but it's not if you look at the geometry of the wheel. Those specific numerical placements form angles of support, sustenance, or spiritual alignment with the anchor point.
Like architectural support beams.
Exactly. The 2nd house supports with wealth, the 4th supports with comfort, the 9th supports with luck. It is a mathematical calculation of which planetary energies harmoniously reinforce each other versus which ones create geometric friction.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate here for a second, because I can imagine you listening to this right now and thinking, all right, I pull up my chart and it says my ruling planet is debilitated or it's sitting in an enemy's house. Does that mean I'm just doomed?
Right, the fatalism concern.
Yeah, am I cursed to be miserable in that area of my life? Because frankly, this system can sound incredibly fatalistic if you're just looking at the surface.
That is such a vital question, and it's one the foundational texts address directly. They explicitly warn against taking a gloomy mechanistic view of these placements. A debilitated planet is absolutely not a death sentence, and it doesn't mean you're doomed to fail.
So it's not a cosmic stamp of disapproval.
Far from it. In
Yeah.
fact, the texts point out some brilliant paradoxes. Let's take a debilitated Saturn or debilitated Mars. You might assume that means weakness or failure,
Sure, that's the logical leap.
but the text explains that these specific placements can actually bestow the gift of profound humility. A debilitated planet represents a specific psychological blind spot. It is an area where you cannot rely on ego or natural talent.
Because it's just not there naturally.
Right. Because you lack the natural strength, you are forced to develop deep self-awareness and humility to navigate it. They aren't inescapable doom. They are the specific terrain designed for your personal growth.
Okay, so let's tie this all together. We have our Pax Dares blueprint, we have our 12 houses, we have planet swapping houses in these powerful Parivartan yogas, and we know what mathematical mood those planets are in.
Right.
But the chart is just a static picture of the sky when you were born. How do we know when any of this actually happens? Like, if I have a Maha Parivartan promising great career success, am I just waiting around my whole life hoping it triggers?
This is where we move from the static blueprint to the moving wheel of time. To answer when, we use the Vimshatari Dasha system.
The 120-year cosmic clock we mentioned at the start.
Yes. The Vimshatari Dasha is an unparalleled 120-year cycle used to time life events. It maps out exactly which planetary energy is ruling your life at any given moment. And it doesn't just divide your life into big, vague chapters. It uses a hyper-specific, five-fold division of fractal time.
Fractal time, that is a heavy concept. How should we visualize that?
Think of it like zooming in on a digital map. At the highest level, you see the whole country. That is the Mahadasha, the major period. A Mahadasha can last for years. A Venus period, for instance, lasts for a full 20 years.
So for 20 years, Venus is the overarching theme of your life.
Correct. But if you zoom in on the map, you see the state level. That's the Antardasha, the subperiod, ruled by a different planet that adds its flavor to the Venus theme.
Okay, zooming in again.
Zoom in further to the city level, and you have the Pratyantardasha, the sub-period, Zoom into the street level, you get the Sukshma Dasha. Zoom all the way down to a single house on that street, and you have the Prana Daka, which narrows the cosmic timing down to a matter of days or even hours.
That level of granularity is just staggering, and this is the trigger mechanism for everything we discussed earlier, right?
Exactly. The latent potential of your chart only truly manifests during the specific dasha periods of the planets involved.
So, if you have a Parivartan Yoga, a house swap between your 1st and 10th houses, which intimately links your identity to your career, you might go 3 decades with that potential just sitting there, completely dormant.
Right, just waiting.
You're working a normal job, nothing crazy is happening, but the moment your cosmic clock ticks over and you hit the Mahadasha of one of those planets and the Antardasha of the other, boom!
It activates.
Suddenly, the exchange activates. You experience a massive shift in your career path, or you completely reinvent your professional identity.
The dasha is the key that unlocks the door. And what's really nuanced here is the rules of modification provided in the text. The system understands that human life is rarely all good or all bad.
You're talking about the silver lining rule. I loved this detail in the source material.
It's so hopeful, isn't it?
It is. It states that even if you're slogging through an evil-producing Mahadasha, say, a 10-year major period ruled by a planet that is deeply debilitated and causing you immense struggle if you enter an Antardasha, a sub-period, ruled by a planet that creates a positive yoga in your chart, good results can still unexpectedly shine through.
It proves the system isn't monolithic. You are never completely engulfed by the dark. Because of this fractal nature of time, there are always these microcycles of light and opportunity woven into the struggle, depending on the Pratyantar or Sukshma dashas running in the background. It's a complex, constantly shifting tapestry.
So we're looking at this incredibly precise 5-fold mathematical clock. It's triggering house exchanges, it's activating planetary moods down to the exact degree, but we have to ask the ultimate question.
What's driving it?
Yeah, if this clock is ticking away for 120 years, what is actually winding it? What is the engine driving this entire system?
To understand the engine, we have to look at the core philosophical premise of the foundational texts. The theory of Hindu astrology is 100% based on the theory of karma and reincarnation.
The texts cite a very famous analogy from the Mahabharata to explain this mechanism. They say that karma is like a calf. Imagine a massive herd of thousands of cows. If you release a tiny calf into that herd, it doesn't get lost.
It knows exactly where to go.
Right. It wanders through the thousands of legs, knows exactly how to search for, and unmistakably finds its own mother.
The karma chases its doer unmistakably. That is the exact quote from the source text.
It's such a striking image, but how does that actually work mechanically? Like, how does an action from my past find me today?
It comes down to energetic signatures. Every action you take, your Sanchita karma, which is your vast reservoir of accumulated past actions, creates a highly specific energetic scent. The calf recognizes the scent of its mother amidst thousands of other cows. Similarly, your specific karmic action creates an energetic reaction that only fits your unique signature. So across time, and even across lifetimes, that karmic reaction is magnetically drawn specifically to you.
So the birth chart, the horoscope, is essentially just a cross-section of that karma. It's a localized readout of a specific portion of your Sanchita karma that is ripe or scheduled to be experienced in this particular 120-year cycle.
Exactly. The chart is the map of the calf finding the cow.
Let me push back on this because it's so easy to get this twisted. If the chart is just a map of my karma, what is the role of the planets?
That's the big misunderstanding.
Are they actually forcing me to do things? Are they shooting invisible cosmic rays at me that make me get into an argument on a Tuesday or, make me land a promotion on a Friday? Or are they just cosmic scorekeepers?
The sources are unequivocal on this.
Yeah.
The popular belief that planets impel or compel us to do right or wrong actions is a total misconception. The planets are not forcing your hand. They have no agenda to ruin your Tuesday.
So they aren't the software running the program?
No, they are simply the monitor displaying the code. They give the readout of your own accumulated past actions. You wrote the code through your past choices. The planets are just the hands on the clock face, telling you what time it is in your own personal karmic cycle.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Let's trace the journey we've just taken. We started by decoding the Pactaris blueprint, zooming in on those powerful Parivartan yogas, the Maha, the Dainya, the Kahala, where planets act like homeowners swapping houses to functionally link different domains of your life.
We explored the mathematics of planetary moods, how they can be exalted or debilitated down to the exact degree, and how even their lowest points, like a debilitated Saturn, are actually profound opportunities for humility rather than inescapable curses.
And we mapped out the hyper-specific Vimshtari Dasha clock, that 120-year fractal timeline zooming all the way down from decades to hours, tracking exactly when those latent yugas will finally trigger in your life.
And finally, we revealed the engine driving the entire system, the calf and cow principle of karma, demonstrating that the planets are simply reflecting your own past actions back to you.
Which leaves us with the final, mind-expanding thought to chew on. If this entire system is driven by karma, if your current birth chart, with all its struggles, its debts, and its brilliant Parivartan yogas, is simply a cosmic printout of your past actions, and if your present choices are currently writing the code for your future,
then you have to ask yourself a very practical question about how you are living today.
what kind of exalted placements and brilliant planetary exchanges are you actively programming for your next lifetime, right now, in this very moment? The cosmic clock is ticking, but you are the one winding it. Next time, in part 4 of our deep dive series, we're going to look at the other side of the coin, the Arista yogas, those challenging combinations that map out life's obstacles.
That's going to be a really intense one.
It definitely is. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the architecture of time and destiny. Keep questioning, keep exploring the blueprint, and we will see you next time.